National Girls and Women in Sports Day goes much further than anyone dribbling a ball. It's about celebrating all of the women on and off the court, trying to advance their sport and influence the next generation to do the same. The city says the upcoming snowfall is minor compared to the one that Connecticut saw almost 2 weeks ago. Still, they aren't taking any chances. They are enforcing a parking ban along with other preparations to make sure the roads remain as clear as possible. People are finally seeing their grass again as most of the snow across the state has melted. But the snow melt means more of an eyesore for this property after the family here tells me the city damaged their yard and broke their mailbox during snow removal efforts. They're capable of destroying the habitat and fighting others for food, all while having very few predators. The European green crab is a pesky crustacean, but their flavor might just solve a years-old problem. It's just right in my face. Visibility is terrible, but before the hit, I was actually standing this way because I just really couldn't see at all. So I'm a little out of my element right now, and I'm a little out of my element as well because I'm usually not supposed to be up until another 4 hours. I'm a dayside reporter, but I'm out here in the morning in the thick of it, and this is something, I will tell you.
Fortunately, your beard is not covered in snow this morning, Jamel.
Yeah, Eric, I don't look like Santa Claus anymore. I kind of like the look a little bit. It was kind of fun, but there were no milk and cookies in sight for me, but that's completely okay. We actually made our way to Tweed, New Haven Airport, and I can tell you what, people seem like they're very excited to be flying again today. Yeah, Symphony and Brandon, we're standing not too far away from Pratt Street, which is obviously one of Hartford's economic centers with small businesses lining the street left and right. And when you think about a minimum wage increase, small businesses are really going to be the ones impacted by that the most, whether it be from an employee or an employer standpoint. Now, Governor Lamont is expected to be on Pratt Street addressing the minimum wage increase. Yeah, Tim and Annette, there were a lot of people here that were in opposition to the president, and they made their stance pretty clear, but we got a chance to actually speak with some sympathizers of the president, and they talked a little bit about wanting to come and show their support for him during his first visit to the state in 9 years. And I've seen several fire trucks come through locally, including Torrington, Harwinton, and Winstead. They are all trying to get this fire under control, so that kind of puts into perspective the mutual aid effort that's going on right now.
Yeah, thanks for joining us here. For the News at 5, I'm Sarah Sanchez.
And I'm Jamel Johnson. Let's get right over to Chief Meteorologist Rachel Frank, who yesterday said we all might see a shower, and right now it looks like Litchfield County is getting the worst of it. Rachel, what can you tell us?
Yeah, we have a severe thunderstorm.
Police officers are handing out ice cream through Connecticut's first ever Copsicle ice cream truck. Little play on popsicle right there. I talked with the officer who thought of the idea and captured the moment kids got to enjoy it for the first time. And today is National Night Out. It's a time when police departments across the country host events to better connect with the community outside of an emergency situation. Fox 61's Alicia Hercules is live in Suffield talking to police about what they're hoping comes from tonight's Night Out. Alicia. Emergency crews are actively searching the Housatonic River for a missing child. Fox 61's Victoria Anderson just got to the scene. Victoria, what are you learning as they try to put the pieces together out there? Now we're getting one step closer to closing arguments in this trial before the case goes to the jury.
Fox 61's Alicia Hercules is live.
Brazen theft at a local pizza shop. Someone walked in and emptied the tip jar right off the counter. Now, the jars are a simple way for customers to show appreciation, but this time it became a target. I spoke with the store owner who says he couldn't believe what he saw on the surveillance video. And now at 6:30, we've got an update from New Haven as the city takes up the important issue of funding for the public school system.
And you mentioned confidence. Over the last decade, women's sports has really soared in popularity, especially right here in Connecticut with a lot of big names coming out. What kind of confidence that really instills in young women like this that, they can be maybe in that position one day or even in, staff positions like you guys?
It's really important, especially now. So middle school is the time where
This team seems like it's going to be stacked. Honestly, the Colorado Rockies sent down 16 pitchers and then 13 skill players, and 2 of them are their top prospects this year. What can you say about this team and what fans can expect this year?
Yeah, we're really excited about the prospect group. It's a prospect bubble right now.
Last night, we had some good and bad news for former UConn great Paige Beckers. The good news, Beckers continued her march toward Rookie of... Well, like you
said, Kinsley, both of these teams are coming in off losses last week, so it's bound to be a great matchup. For Headland, they're coming in 2-1, and they're trying to find their identity. They're very good at running the ball. That's where they get their bread and butter. But Anthony Trammell is a first-year starter at quarterback. He hasn't thrown a touchdown pass yet. He has 3 interceptions. That's not a ratio you want to go for.
The WNBA announced starters for the All-Star game late last month, and unsurprisingly, the Huskies will be well represented among the top 10. You guys want some baseball history real quick?
Sure, go for it.
The last person to do that was Roger Maris, 1958, 67 years ago, to do both the inside the park home run and a grand slam. That's just a testament to how much competitive baseball has gotten over the past 50 years.
Yeah, for sure. And he had a good game.
UConn football looked a lot different in 1964. They were a part of the Yankee Conference, had never beaten Yale head-to-head, and had a coach on staff who would later win a national title at Notre Dame. That coach was future Hall of Famer Lou Holtz. The university's website labels him as an assistant at UConn, but his good friend and longtime UConn coach Andy Baylock says he was much more than that.
He was given a myriad of duties, but he was a worker. He was capable, and he had the good personality to handle it too. You know, he could always have a little smile on his face. He wasn't grumpy. He always had a little story to tell.
Coach Holtz was born in West Virginia and played linebacker at Kent State, being coached by former UConn head coach Rick Frazano.
Like Rick said, he wasn't much of a player, and then he got hurt. And when he got hurt, they made him a student assistant. He said, you can see something in the making right there. And then Rick said that, boy, if I ever get a head job, the first guy I'm going to call is Lou Holtz.
He may have been an assistant for the Huskies, but he had already proven to be a leader of young men.
But he was a teacher. He was a teacher and a motivator of young men, college kids, and wherever he went.
Knowing who he was beyond the accolades and his impact on the players he coached made it that much harder learning of his passing.
One of our players on that team called, it just came over the news over here, that Coach Holtz passed away. I knew that he was in hospice, though, prior to that, but very sad.
But now that he's gone, memories like this stand out even more.
The most memorable thing that happened in years was being 0-17 against Yale and finally beating Yale.
After he left UConn in 1965, Coach Holtz and Baylock kept up over payphone.
Once in a while, a phone call, a note here and there.
And then it transitioned to email more than 50 years later.
It was a great time, and I always count on you among my favorite friends. That made me feel so good.
Coach Holt's passing now leaves Coach Baylock as the last staff member alive from the 1965 team. But Baylock says he'll continue teaching the Huskies about Holtz's work ethic.
Just a good human being. And you know, I'm just so proud of him. Just saying that I spent a couple of years working with him, and also with Skip, his son, for 5 years over there too, you know, and it's special. It's special.
Hear that? Yeah, silence. In another neighborhood, that may be normal, but in the Shaker Pines community, it's anything but. It's a tradition that every day at 6 o'clock, this firehouse siren goes off, but after a noise complaint, police have seemingly shut it down for good. Randy Daigle is the current president of the Shaker Pines Homeowners Association.
So awesome of him to put the money to do it. He could have just made it a regular shop, but he didn't. He brought it back.
He also remembers the siren being an important part of his childhood.
Back in the day, it was like street lights. You had to be home when the street lights went on. That was, the siren went on. It was like dinner time back in the day. You know, they made a meal. If you missed it, you missed it.
The siren triggers a core memory for people in this neighborhood like Jessica Duga.
Kids would be like running home when they heard the siren.
And Charlie and his wife, Jamie Masada.
When you hear that sound, it's just like a big breath of air coming out. We made it through another day, and we're home in our community here, the little community of Shaker Pines, where we want to stay.
When the firehouse was decommissioned in the 90s, there were no more 6 p.m. sirens. Until recently, when a local family bought and refurbished the firehouse, bringing back the tradition.
The first time we heard it, everybody was like, let's go! Like, we were really excited to hear it. My husband was at work and he said, they rang that, I missed it. So he's made sure he's home by 6 o'clock so he can hear the siren.
But this was only a short trip down memory lane. Earlier this week, a neighbor put in a noise complaint to the town, causing police to tell the owners of the firehouse to stop the siren or face potential fines. In an email to Fox 61, Police Chief Alaric Fox said, generally speaking, playing or activating a siren in a way that is loud enough to alert/disturb the neighborhood is not permissible, even when some neighbors may be in support of it.
I heard that it was going to go off one more time. And the few people that are on that with me, we were kind of like baffled. Like, what do you mean? Like, why are you going to shut it off? And then we found out somebody complained.
Now, a community petition has started getting more than 300 signatures in hopes a compromise can be made.
My grandson, his dad is a full-time fireman, so I know it really hits your heart when somebody has something, negative about it.
Now, as we were knocking on doors, we came across a neighbor who said they were the ones who put in the noise complaint. They said after the siren went off a few times, they called police because they found it a nuisance. Neighbors in favor of the siren want more people to sign the petition to try to bring it back. In infield, Jamel Johnson, Fox 61. Meet Parker and Gwen Ackley, owners of a piece of automobile history you may only see today in museums.
If you hear these noises, you might think they're from a different era. And you'd be right. The source of that vintage horn is a 1911 Hupmobile owned by Parker and Gwen Ackley.
I first got an interest in antique cars when we volunteered at Old Rhinebeck Aerodrome. And they have a number of antique cars up there, which I would get to drive in the shows. And they had a 1912 version of this car, which is like, gee, this is a fun car, and so kind of been on the lookout.
Later, the Ackley's dreams of owning a Hupmobile came true.
One day at an auction, two of them came up, 1911, which this is, and a 1912. We decided to get this 11.
Parker says this car,
the original owner was a college student. He went to school in upstate New York.
Is just one of an estimated 500 still worldwide.
Apparently he made good because he bought this car and he got all the accessories except for the luggage rack.
And it's one of just 4 he knows of in Connecticut.
There was about 15,000 of the Model 20s that were made from fall of '09 to very early '13.
Because of that, they are the talk of the town.
Well, this year has been very popular. People come up and it's like, wow, what year is it? An 11? And then another common question is this a real car?
And it helps that Parker and Gwen look the part too.
We try to bring people back in time.
Parker is the driver, and Gwen is his passenger princess.
I've driven it in the beach parking lot where I don't have to deal with any traffic.
It might be 114 years old, but the car runs like a dream.
It's kind of a sporty feel. There are period correct shock absorbers on the front that are aftermarket, so the car holds the road very well, but you feel every bump.
We in fact did feel just about every bump.
This particular one is 35. I can't imagine it, this thing's scary enough at 25.
The couple are just 2 of a long list of owners. And they hope the next owners are just like them.
Someone who appreciates originality in antique cars. I don't have anybody specific in mind, but when the time comes, probably the first place I would go to would be put an ad in the Hupmobile newsletter.